Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and I already did a live stream today, but the original plan for my day was to go hang out with my good friend Mr. Jack from Rerolling Ones, but unfortunately he got stuck at work, and so he asked that I hop on and do something to entertain him. So we're going to pick up pretty much right where we left off this morning. So if you didn't catch that exciting stream, that was me painting a whole lot of dryad bark to get all the wood parts of this stinking thing done. But since then, I got the wood done. I put the did the basics of the skeletons, and then put a wash. Everything got a wash. So I'm gonna boot up some music here. Hello, Phoenix Kelly. Good. Glad things are working. Let me know if you can hear and see me okay. Like I said, I'm going to pull up some tunes so we can jam out. I like having little tunes on. I was listening to some Doom and Darkness, Doomcast, the current episode, and really enjoy it. Let's make sure that the audio levels are all right. That looks just fine. Hey, just for me. It is the Just for Jack cast. So, what I'm going to do is do a lot of dry brushing. We're going to finish up the wood parts and then go back and do all of the skulls and stuff like that. I find it good to block out the... I already pulled my brushes out. Block out all of the wood portions first. I don't expect this to be a terribly busy stream with it being, Friday night? It's prime time for gaming. Does that mean the rest of us should leave? No. Let me see. Give me just a hot second to find my... I have this like dryad bark dry brush paint I like quite a bit. Here we go. That and Carrick Stone. So everybody, while you're in the chat, tell me what you're working on. I like chatting with people. Let's see. True friendship. Pretty risky to have some in blackface on the thumbnail. It's just Jack from Will and Grace. I don't know what life situation would require me to do blackface to prove my love for you, but yes, I would. 2 in 1 day. Absolutely, Ben. Yep. The original plan was to be gaming right now, but life takes us all in funny ways. So I was going to go hang out at my local GW, and I bolted up there once Jack realized he couldn't hang out. Because I was just going to hang and chat with people, do a little hobby there. And the store manager, who I really am fond of, he had to step out, so he had his assistant there. I don't dislike him at all. We don't have the same banter, So after a little while, I was like, I'm good. I'll go home and hop on a live stream. So that's what brings us here. Putting together so many ogres. Jack bailed on you? Nah, Jack had work. No bailing. I don't consider that bailing. I consider bailing of just like, I don't want to go. That's my working definition of bailing. Lucky you never catch live streams. Oh, well, hey, you just started within 4 minutes, so welcome. You missed nothing. We're just dry brushing a whole lot of wood, basically, just wood. Getting all of the... well, I think this will be the last thing I have to do, if I'm not mistaken, to start doing some Warcry stuff. So I'm very excited about that. So then Jack can stop harassing me for just being a live streamer guy. Made me help someone instead of getting off work and beating Doug at AOS. That was never going to happen, man. You're going to bring your Caesar Sigmar or whatever like that, and I was going to bring my War Clans, and I was going to mop the floor with you now that I know how to play them. Took me a minute. painting terrain too for school. Oh, that's cool. You got like a gaming club? Or are you using your Warhammer terrain to make the most awesome diorama for a school project ever? Some fun news that I just confirmed earlier today with my lovely wife is that I plan on attending Adepticon, so if anyone wants to meet me, apparently I will be there. It wasn't in my plans, and then I saw that Shu from Rerolling Ones is going to be, he was going to go, and I did not expect that at all. And I was like, oh, if you guys are going. So then I asked Jess, and she was like, yeah, can I go and just hide in the hotel room like I did at Nova? And I was like, yes, if you want to. And she was like, oh, good, that was perfect. I was like, okay. It's easy to please. I'll take it. She's a writer, and so she kind of viewed it as a little like workshop weekend for herself. So she was pumped about Nova. Just treated herself to a room service one morning and hung out. Yeah, had a great time. That should be fun. Landscape architecture program. Oh, cool. We have a community engagement meeting tomorrow, and I'm making little trees for people to put map on. Okay, cool. I dig it. So not far from a diorama. Just you're not making a diorama of like a Warhammer universe. I dig it. I dig it. Good day. Hate you so much for making me lose all this money. Well, I can't help that. That is GW. If it was my fault, that might end up in my bank account. Here we go. So I like to do, this is Dryad Bark with a wash of Agrax Roadshade, and then the Sylvaneth Bark Dry Paint. I actually like the way it turns out when it's all said and done. Ben says, never made any conventions. Like to someday. They're fun. They are exhausting. I feel like I know what I need to do to survive this time, frankly. Where at Nova, I burned my voice out in the first week. I mean, it'll be different because when Jess and I talked about it, you know, I'm not going for the week ahead of time, which actually I think is when I started to get sick, to be honest. I don't think it was actually Concrete. I just don't think it helped. Because we did quite a bit of like all the touristy things, and I started to feel kind of out of it on Wednesday, right before the thing started. So... yeah, hand sanitizer is a must. Bring it, catch the fever. They had some there, but it wasn't a lot. I'll put it over here. But yeah, I had a great time at Nova, and it's one of those things, like people immediately when I got back from Nova were like, oh, so you're going to Adepticon? Now that you like have a thirst for conventions. And I was like, I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I said, listen to my wife there. She has some friends over. I was just having a good laugh. I was like, well, it's not really in my plans. It's hard once you go to a place, I'm told, and this kind of fits in. It's like, if you go back, you feel like people know you, right? And so it's like, oh, I want to go back to Adepticon. I want to see everybody who I met this last year. But Jess was very supportive, and she's like, let's just try to do both. She suggested, my wife suggested, so brace yourselves, suggested that I get armies, paint them, and sell them to fund the trip. So she's all in on the Doug. If you're gonna have this compulsion to paint armies, like use it for good, man. I thought that was pretty funny. She was like, yeah, you have the pirate guys you can sell, right? And I was like, I do have the pirate guys that I can sell. So we'll figure that out. Be prepared to get an onslaught of new female subscribers with that thumbnail. Exactly. Beautiful women not included, but should be expected. So you're saying you want to go where everybody knows your name? Exactly. Exactly right. Making your way in the world today sure can take a lot. So, yeah, no. Let's see. Jack, I don't think geriatric spends much time on YouTube. Hey-oh! I don't know why my channel just started really harping on Jack's age. I don't get it. He's in better shape than me. As long as no one drops the okay boomer on him. Okay boomer. He's not a boomer, but... Gotta put my daughter to bed. Don't go anywhere. Nah, man, I just started. I'm 11 minutes in. Hand her a, what do you call it? A Benadryl. Tell her I love her. You know, put her to bed, put the light off, come right back. I think I've offered to drug, like, shoes kids multiple times with Benadryl. I'd be like, yeah. Oh, you want a good night's sleep? I'll take care of it. I'll get you a good night's sleep. Don't worry about it. Unfortunately, not a whole lot has happened news-wise since my last stream just a couple hours ago, so I don't have a myriad of stuff to talk about. This afternoon was spent with me kind of running some errands, and I bought a new shelf to organize things in my office. Basically, I'm going to do a wholesale clean out of things like gaming mats and what else? Models and projects. I want it gone. Just added a new name to my list. Omnifaction. That's funny. Koopa. Alright. That's the thing, is once all the Dryad bark was on, all this goes really fast. And I'm excited about getting this done. I'm actually very excited to get to gaming on this stuff. Show it off. I might stay up late tonight and do some pictures in my photo box. People have been super patient on the Warcry stuff. Because when I got back from Nova, I was just like super all about these other painting projects that I had, the Mega Cannon and what else? Oh yeah, I picked up Iron Jaws as soon as that book came out. That was not long after Nova at all. We'll just hit some harder to make them look a little different across the top here. Perfect. Those new reading glasses must be doing wonders. Small text in the chat. Sorry, is it too small? I can blow it up once the stream ends. I apologize for that. Cold shoulder, 2 streams in one day. Yes. Yes. I did one earlier, and then good friend Jack got stuck working late. So I said, you know what? We'll turn the camera on, have a hangout while he's got something to listen to. Let me see. What do I got to talk about? Let's talk about Bone Splitters. I'm excited about Bone Splitters. I don't know if anyone actually cares, but I do. So this weekend I went out and got... Well, I didn't go out and get it, but I had already ordered a Wargog Prophet. I just picked them up. And a Wardock. And I got those primed today. They're sitting right next to me. If I'm still going if Jack's not done by the time I'm done with this stuff, I will be busting those out and putting the first layers on them. But ultimately, super excited about doing Bone Splitters. Honestly, like, I I really enjoy Iron Jaws. I'm having a blast with him. I haven't played the Big Wall yet. But just on paper, I look at the Bone Splitters, I'm like, that seems like the more fun of all of these. Actually, that's not true. I think the Big Wall is probably a great deal of fun. But, yeah, the Bone Splitters are ones that I think they walked away really, really well after the book. And so it's just the spell lore, which I know spellcasting can be hit or miss, because if I go up against something like Nagash or Tzeentch, you know, that's going to be kind of dead in the water, possibly. Not necessarily, but yeah. I think the things that their spells allow you to do just strike me as super fun, as far as like incredible speed and hitting above your weight class all of a sudden. You can easily get each hit roll of a 6 to be 2 or 3 attacks that go through, because they can do the Slaanesh style multiply your attacks thing with a few. Very, very easy to get buffs. I just think that they sound awesome. With Nagash being 880 points, I'm not sure how often you could see him. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really spent a ton of time with the Ossiarch Bone Reaper book yet. To think about how he fits in, honestly, I don't think I would take him there. Just because he's expensive and everything that they do is already very expensive. You know, I'm sure he's great, but, yeah. Joseph, hello. Rook, on a serious note, love how terrain is turning out. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really liking it as well. It's turning out quite well. The buildings are all done. This is all that's left, is all the stairs and the gangplanks and that kind of stuff. So hopefully... And so this is the fun part, where basically... So, the camera doesn't pick it up super well. And looks like we're going to lose Jack here pretty soon with his phone. That's okay. I'll just hang out. But basically, what you do is you do the Dryad Bark, so it highlights everything, and then you go back over with, I'm using Carrick Stone, just as a light dry brush, and you just go the places where people's feet actually go, because it makes it look like it's being tread upon. It's a simple thing. But it makes it look real good. You can see right there on the, that shows up pretty well. How it then it fades from that very, very dark all the way to a little bit brighter. Yeah. Chewbacca, what's up? You're only ones. Is that Shu? I assume that's you. Let's see. Question. I'm about to get started in Warhammer, and I was interested in the Flesh Eater Courts. Any thoughts or advice? Flesh Eater Courts are a fantastic army. They are very, very good right now in the game. And the nice thing about them, I can tell you, is that their start collecting box, their actual starter set, is I think the single best value in the game right now. By that I mean, if you don't know, if you are, you said you're new, so I'll just assume you don't know everything about them. A lot of the Flesh Eater Court units are different combinations of things that are all come from the same kit. So some of the heroes are like, if you use this different head or arm, all of a sudden it counts as a different thing. Well, that means that the starter box, you can buy 4 of that kit and buy things in slightly different ways. And all of a sudden they're all different kinds of units, and you have amassed quite a diverse army. And so it's one of the most, in terms of on your wallet, newbie-friendly things that there is. The purchasing, like where you should go to purchase stuff in terms of, good source of models, it's the best. Yeah, no, I think it's a wonderful army. They are quite good in the game. So just understand, there are some folks that are kind of get the feel badsies, because there are ways to build Flesh Eater Courts where they are extremely good, like suffocatingly so. But honestly, if you're just starting off, you're not gonna know those combos. Don't worry about it. Just go, have fun, build what you like, and it'll all turn out looking good in the end. That's the official Doug opinion. Let's see, question. Oh, that was the same one. Okay. Let's see. Need to get how are flesh eater quartz in Warcry. I've never actually seen them in Warcry. I have one buddy who I think he had some. I don't know if it was just death or if he like leads them to gash or if it actually was flesh eater quartz, but I could have swore he was. But I never actually saw them getting played. So I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I hope that answered your question. Apathy Kitten. I love the name, by the way. Yeah, they're a very fun army, and the spell lore is cool. I don't know. You can just do a lot of cool different things. They have access to a lot of different play styles, so you won't get bored with them. And as long as you like the models, go for it. I will go back at some point and do some like washes and stuff on these just to make some of the boards look rotted, because I think that would kind of add a lot to the look visually, but that's like a finishing touch. That's not like a right now concern. What we got? Need to get some green stuff. World UV resin water effects. I've never heard of that. I only just recently actually started using Green Stuff World for stuff with the basis for the Maggotkin that I was super deeply passionate about, and now I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Nothing's actually changed on my feelings on them. It's just I'm having so much stinking fun with the War Clans book that I just don't want to stop building stuff for that. So I'm trying hard to like lean into what I like, because, you know, I mean, I've said it before and people make fun of me, but I want one day to be the guy who's like, yeah, I play this one army and I'm really, really good at it, right? And I can have other multiple painting projects. I just mean I want to be good at an army when it comes to actually playing the game and knowing the rules and that kind of stuff. And so I thought that was me, Maggotkin, and so far right now, since the update, it's looking like War Clan, just because I am enjoying the ever-loving heck out of it. Let's see. So, Slave to Darkness are coming. Is that a 2nd edition battle tome for all factions? No, we still have Seraphon, we still have Carriage and Overlords. Who else is there that has a 1st edition? Tzeentch. I can't think. Does anyone else can think of one besides those? I have, yeah, Carriage and Overlord, Seraphon, Tzeentch, and I can't think of another one. I do. Maggotkin, in my opinion, needs to be updated. It's technically a 2nd edition battle tome, but it was in that really weird interim space where a lot of the wording is still 1st edition, but they had moved on aesthetically to the 2nd. So, for example, like Blight Kings and their exploding 6s, it should say unmodified, which would be great, but right now it says 6+, like it used to say with most books back in the day. So, yeah, I don't know. My friend brought me snake bites for Warcry so we can play. Oh yeah, dude, snake bites look awesome. I was actually, so like I said, I was just at the Games Workshop store, and so I was looking at the various Warcry warbands, and I was like, man, I already have the beast guys to paint. I shouldn't buy any more, and so I kind of talked myself out of it. But the Splintered Fang dudes, I do want to get at some point, just because I have an idea for their armor. Basically, I'm gonna paint them as metal, right, like with lead belcher, and then go over that with a green contrast. Which if you haven't seen what contrast does over lead belcher, it looks sick. And just some of the colors just look awesome. That's what I did for my iron golems. Painted them lead belcher and then put the Blood Angels red over it, and it's just this nice like hot rod, like cherry looking metallic. I was just like, hell yeah, that looks dope. Do you think hey Ben, Ben's back. Do you think we'll see new Saurus models with the book? I have no idea. You know, they're all over the place with models right now. I would have never in a million years said, oh yeah, in December they're going to cough out a bunch of new Slaves to Darkness stuff in a battle tome. So I have no idea anymore. I will be the first to say. Let's see, let's get this out of the way. I'd like to. Honestly, if nothing else, I'd love to see a new, at least the Cold One Riders or whatever. Not a huge fan of that sculpt. But that seems to be the general consensus as well, so. Here we go, so, let's see. Hope so, look what they do in Blood Bowl. Yeah. Chris, hey Doug, give me some inspiration. Sitting here staring at my last 5 Fire Slayers, I'm just dragging my feet to finish them. Well, paint along, dude, because I'm here at my last few pieces of terrain for this thing, and I have been dragging my feet since Nova to paint this stuff. So, in the words of John McClane from Die Hard, welcome to the party, pal. I have been, I've been sitting on this for a while. That's the thing, was like, I've been wanting to do Warcry battle reports, but man, it's like, I can't do what I want to do without the terrain that comes in the set. I need the multiple levels and that kind of thing. But my god, I don't want to paint right now. The terrain. I hate painting terrain so much. The nice thing is once I'm done, I got it forever, and I can just keep on using it. The only thing I'm bummed about terrain-wise, actually, is that I found out recently that I lost my Warcry cards, like my deployment cards, whatever like that. And so I was at GW yesterday, I grabbed a new set, but I realized, oh crap, that means I lost the ones that came with the graveyard set. I was like, oh dang, man, that sucks. So I might just make up some of those that include that later on. Alright, now I'm just throwing a wash of Seraphim Sepia on the Skellies. We'll get them ready to be painted. So basically all that's left is the skeletons. There's some stone and metal. And the lashes, the ropes that keep these things all together. But, I mean, that's going to be a super easy part. At this point, it's all pretty quick and simple. It's just a lot of different, different colors. That's what kind of bogs it down. Let's see. Currently working on orcs for 5 hours, so this helps a lot. Oh, I remember that. I had an orc army for 40k. It was glorious. And it wasn't like, it wasn't my best work, but it was. Whenever there's just some of those armies that when there's so many models, just having all of them with paint on them, not well painted like professionally, like every dude is like a masterpiece type thing, but just every guy painted, period. They just look great, and that's, I think Orcs is one of those. Like, they don't have to be painted exceptionally well, but after they're all set up on the table and you're sitting across from them, like, man, that looks awesome. Let's see. Question: how good are Maggotkin for new players hobby-wise? Hobby-wise, in terms of painting and that kind of stuff, they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal because they're, first of all, they're big. Meaning you have a lot of like physical space to paint on and use as a canvas. I like them because they let you basically, because their whole shtick is they're super gross and nasty and sloppy and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You can be very messy with your paints on a Maggotkin model, and it will still look good. There's like this kind of like this little Nurgle bump that it gets just for like, just the fact that you put paint on it means it looks kind of good. So I think, you know, they're not necessarily the best in terms of like, you know, if you're nervous about painting, I'd be like, there's others that are easier to paint to get an easy finish. But if you're like, hey, I'm kind of comfortable painting, you know, I'm not terribly worried about it. What's something where I can kind of like stretch my wings out a little bit and try something different? Maggotkin's amazing at that. You can practice green stuff. You can do a whole bunch of things. Like I said, because they're so gross and they're all about rot and that kind of stuff, anything can pretty much be passed off for a visual effect and look good. Like, not just terrible, but just look good. So yeah. You can get driven insane and bogged down in the details of models, but you know, you can paint them as much or as little as you want, to be honest. Let's throw some paint on these lashes here. We're gonna paint these guys up. My friend has gone heavy into green stuff with his Death Guard. Yep, Death Guard. Yeah, Death Guard are the Maggotkin equivalent in 40k. Absolutely. That's weird. I'm like out of X88, but that's just not a color I use very often, so I'm not quite sure what I did to all of it. Yeah, anything Nurgle is super fun. Just like for the same reason that I also like Tzeentch quite a bit, where it's like, oh, Tzeentch is a great place if you want to like have something that looks colorful with like very loud, you know, clashing colors. Tzeentch is a fantastic one. So is Slaanesh for that. Khorne can be. I think the more live models kind of suit the colorfulness more, whereas I think when I look at a Khorne model, it's like this looks like it could be really good for like metallics and reds and, you know, kind of like more hardy colors. Let's see. But yeah, good questions, y'all. So let's see, what is everybody else working on as I'm painting this? I found out that Jack actually wasn't able to stay with us because of work stuff and his phone, but that's all right. We'll continue on for a little bit more. Get any more Bone Reaper stuff yet? I actually got rid of all my Bone Reaper stuff. So the stuff that I had was sent to me via Games Workshop, and I'm very grateful for it, but I was not expecting it. And I got very excited. And I started making plans to do a Bone Reaper army, as I talked about on the stream as I was building them. And then I just had this moment where I was like, I keep doing the same thing of just saying that I want to get good at a specific army and then being pulled around. And so I just really thought about it. I was like, you know, are these guys gonna like actually fulfill that part of what I want to do? And I was like, you know what, I don't think they are. And so I actually ended up trading them over to Jack over at Reeling Ones because they're going to use it for a studio army. They're very excited to have battle reports with it. And they're helping me beef up the numbers when it comes to my war clans. So I'm actually super happy about that decision. I was like, you know what? It's an army that I love. They're so fun to play. I feel a weird sense that I'm going to go ahead and say is contentment. I'm curious, how often do y'all in the chat, I know this is a small sample size, like 30 of you, how many armies do you have? I want to know just how crazy I am for swapping out stuff. I don't know, like, it's one of those things. I think I just, I got excited when I got the stuff for free, and I was like, oh, I already have it. And I was like, but I don't know. Once I kind of calmed down a little bit, I was like, do I really want this? Will this really add joy to me? I don't know. Five. Stormcast, Corn. Yeah. 2 AOS. Okay, so I feel like most folks have more than one. That's not crazy that I do. It's just, it seems like the weirder thing, rather than having multiple armies, is that I get rid of the ones that I'm not currently playing. I know some folks are like, well, if I paint it, I never get rid of it. That's like their policy. Like, if I put paint on it, it stays with me forever. 12 working on 13. My goodness. I remember that. So the first time I was on Warhammer Weekly, right? I felt super awkward because I think it was the first time I'd ever been a guest on anything. And so I was just trying to make idle chit chat. I was like, how many armies do you have? And like Vince took a deep puff of his e-cig or vape or whatever he's got going on over there. Hookah. And just started like listing off basically everything that I knew existed in the old world. And I was like, oh, well then, I feel weirdly inadequate. Way too many for AOS. Yeah. Let's see. The nice thing about terrain is I never want my terrain to steal aesthetically from the models, because I think the models should, the actual like units and that kind of thing should always be the center stage. So I don't really care about tiny mistakes. Honestly, a wash will cover most stuff. You see people who I think put too much work into terrain, all of a sudden like it looks, I don't know, if you look at the box art on a lot of terrain stuff, I think it looks too good. I have a question about mini painting. My friend asked me to paint their minis. It was super fun, but I want to know what commission prices should be. I don't know. If anyone else has a helpful answer, please go ahead and chime in. But commission painting, not something I do. The way that I learned to paint, or get better at painting, I should say, was I started in the game War Machine and Hordes, and someone would come to me with a unit and be like, oh, so I learned how to paint my stuff online, and somebody was like, oh, can you paint mine too? And I was like, yeah. I was like, what do you want for it? And I just pointed at the wall, and I pointed at a box of miniatures that I wanted but couldn't afford because I was a poor college kid. And he was like, sold. So I just always painted to get the next thing that I wanted. But it's not a price, you know what I mean? And it certainly wasn't always a one-to-one. Sometimes I feel like I walked away with the better end, and sometimes he did. But, you know, I painted an entire Protectorate of Menoth army for him, and so I feel like over the course of that, it balanced out pretty well. So, there are a lot of armies, always more to get considering at another painting 2K. Oh, wow. Dang, what a machine. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're just starting off and like it's just for a buddy, that might not be a bad idea. Just be like, hey, help me get what I want, and I'll get you some painted models. Let's see. About Seraphon. Okay, cool. I like it. I'm curious how tempted I will be to start a Seraphon army once that book drops. Because I love the models. The models are so cool. And there was a brief moment where I was about to start a Seraphon army. Because this guy had a sweet deal. It was killer. And then he started getting a little wishy-washy on the price. He set it for one. I was like, cool, I'll grab that. And the second I said yes, he was like, actually, I'm not sure. You know, maybe it might be worth more. And you're like, no. If you're going to throw it up there online, you need to honor your own price. And so I was just like, I'm done. Backed out. Ain't nobody got time for people who can't get their stuff together and sell a model. Alright. Alright, that turned out pretty well on that one. A lot of things need new models, to be honest. Yeah. I'm almost curious if what is it? Underworlds could ever be a delivery system for new models. Like, I almost want them to stop putting out like names for everything. Like, well, they can be names within named characters within the setting of Underworlds, but like for everyone else, right? Like, how come I can't just be like a chemist? Like, technically it's that dude. And so I don't know. My point being, I would love it if they were like, hey, here's, you know, a new hunter, here's a new Seraphon thing. Of course, you can proxy them as something, but I mean, like, within the context of the rules, they do have a specific name. There we go. Now I have a question. Oh, Apathy Kitten, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Little super chat. I love the cat. One thing I wanted to ask. So, the stone on these things, I'm going to have match the stone on my buildings, just to make it look like they broke off from them. But on some of these, there are like these big metal like chaos symbols. Like, I'll hold it up here. Big rings. Do you think that I should do those as like a dark, like iron, or with kind of a bronzy color? What do y'all think? And I'm back. Joe, hey. Holy hell, 2 times? Yeah. Yeah, I don't usually do 2 in a day, but this was for a buddy. Rusty bronze, bronze, bronze. Okay, cool. It is settled. That's pretty... That's more unanimous than most of the things that I ask for on this channel. I'm like, which color, red or blue? And then I get like 9 people being like, yellow, or something random. Red, red, blue, 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 yellow, purple. Color is an illusion. Let's see. I went iron. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like it. So, we're oh my gosh, we're so freaking close to having this thing done. Vince, since you're watching, I'm kind of curious, how many points of... I assume you just have Iron Jaws, but how many points of War Clans do you have? I'll broaden it out like that. Because I think I have close to 4,000 points of War Clans, but most of it's in Iron Jaws. But yeah, no, it's been a super fun book. Last game I played was against Stormcast. That was super fun. Basically, I fed him Gorgruntas, Brutes, and a Mega Boss on a Maw Crusher. As they fed him, like, they took out a lot of stuff before they died. But the whole time he was dealing with them, there was 2 units of 15 Ard Boys just camping out on objectives that shall not be moved. And so, just a grindy thing. Yeah. Oh, it was fun. 2,500 points, one of my smaller painted armies. Okay, right on, right on. I expected more of you. Oh, this guy's got metal chains all over him. Okay. Get a little more water here. About 60 hours be a minimum unit, and the big guys are very intense. Oof. Nope. I'm basically, this is my last hobby gasp before I dive into a whole mess of bone splitters, and that's going to take a while. There's just so many dudes. I mean, they go through pretty quick just because they're all, they're all the same, basically. But it's just a lot. It's a lot of repetition. A lot of repetition. Let's see. Now on my 3 armies fully painted. Well, technically, Khorne warbands pushing 3K. Okay. Well, I was listening to this on the podcast Legends of the Painting Man, which I really enjoyed. And it's the question of, when is a army, or I guess we can broaden that term to project, I guess, finished, right? And it was an interesting thing because the hosts were having a little bit of debate about, what they consider a finished army is. And I guess the idea I was kind of thinking about, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and throw it in the chat if you have a thought of, like, what do you consider a finished army? For me, it has to do with how many ways I can play it. So, like, I think about the War Clans book. I'm like, I want to be able to play Big Wa, Bone Splitters, and Iron Jaws, and do within that various ways of playing those specific armies. So, I want to have, a full Gorgrunta list for Iron Jaws. I want to have, just for thematic reasons, I think it looks cool. Full pigs list for Bone Splitters. Like, that's, having every option for everything was done. Whereas some people are like, oh, I finished painting 2,000 points of this army. I have a full army. I can play at any event. I'm done. And I'm like, oh, that's super cool. Let's see. Weird question, but how LGBTQ friendly is Warhammer? The setting itself is pretty open. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word, but it just doesn't address those topics, to be honest. As far as are you asking about the game setting, or are you asking about the community? That's an important distinction. Apathy Kitten. On this channel, we are very affirming. I will tell you that, at least as far as I go. The books never really deal with the topic, or any of those topics. But yeah, go ahead and elaborate on your question a bit more, and I'm happy to address it. Let's see. Community. Well, the community... Here's the thing about the community with Warhammer. I'm talking about Warhammer 40k and AOS. Awesome people. Rest in peace, that towel. Oh yeah, this towel's dead. I bought something off eBay and someone used this as packing material, so I washed it so make sure it wasn't gross, and then I was like, I got a free towel. Anyway. The thing is, just like with anything else, there are just cool people and then there's just not cool people. That's just what it is. There are large YouTube channels that are very much intolerant. I don't want to use too many insults, but just very not welcoming. How about that? I think that seems like a pretty fair way to say stuff. Pretty not welcoming. You know, it doesn't matter. It is not a moral quality. But the truth of the matter is, you know, as long as it sticks to Warhammer, I don't ever see a problem. But whatever. That's just me. Honestly, most of the time, like you see YouTubers, some of them mention, for example, they say they're dedicated to like Warhammer, but for some reason it veers into modern, current political discussions. And it's like, but that's not the same thing. We're not talking about Warhammer. I want to talk about Warhammer. I want to talk about robots and space elves and orcs and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. There are channels just like everybody. It's like there are people who are more open and inviting, and some who aren't, and that's just what it is. Let's see. I like my Warhammer community is apolitical. That's what I was trying to find the word for. Apolitical. That's what it was. I was like, pretty blank. My brain was just not firing. Yeah, so you say you're trans. Awesome. That's awesome. Welcome to the community. Yeah, it's gonna depend on just, what I would say is YouTube's a big open place, so if someone starts being a dick, don't follow their channel. That's all there is to it. But no, as far as like the setting and that kind of stuff, nothing really addresses that topics. Games Workshop, I think, works very hard to be very apolitical. They've been really great lately about including female characters, and I think recently wasn't there a 40k book where there was a gay character? I can't remember, but just representative of just people. I can't remember. That might be a lie, so don't hold me to that, but extended rant about how feminists are ruining everything. Yep, there's several of those. Yep, you'll find plenty of that. I'm trying to think of what else. But yeah, I don't get. I use Warhammer as my escape from the real world, And I want everyone else to join me in that escape, and so that is why this is an affirming channel. Open to all of that. Not so much the discussion of it, because I want to keep it about Warhammer, but more or less the people in those communities. Let's see. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. I'm just reading through the comments here. Thank you, everyone, for being so cool. Dro, I believe is after that. How do you feel about corn orcs? Have gotten a lot of flag in my local store. I am of the persuasion that when someone comes to me with a lore idea for their army, right? My default is yes, absolutely. And the reason I say yes, absolutely, is because I feel like one of the reasons they nuked the old world and gave us what we have now is so that we have a system and a setting where anything is possible. And I lean into that as hard as humanly possible. Where it's like, oh, you want to have there's a story where the Slaves to Darkness War Queen has to work with a Stormcast to get out of imprisonment in the book War Queen. Okay, so we have a story where the Slaves to Darkness lady is working with a Stormcast. Like, two people that could not be more diametrically opposed, but they're making, teamwork makes the dream work. And the point is, there's just situations like you can just make your own lore, dude. So, you want corn orcs? Do it. Make some corks. Make it a really good story. There's a 40k precedent for that. There is a planet in the warp that the orcs landed in where Khorne keeps regenerating them because he likes seeing them kill and murder and maim, and it's like the orc paradise because every day they get to kill more and more stuff non-stop. So, like, it's not a crazy idea. Yeah. Corks. Benny-eyed mansplaining for me. Basically, I think what Doug is trying to say, I don't care who you are as long as AUS. That's partially true. It's true that I want to keep it on target. I'm also much more affirming and inviting of those conversations than many other folks in both my religious community and the online space. But generally speaking, I personally, in terms of my content, will keep it focused on Warhammer. Anyone ask anything from the Red Gobbo? No, I don't get the Red Gobbo joke. Honestly, like, I was told it's a thing from a while ago, because I don't remember ever hearing about it before, so if someone can fill me in. What is the Red Gobbo? I saw the model and I was like, that's funny looking. Red Gobbo is a communist goblin from a really old game. Okay, that's super funny. Sold. Sorry, I got quiet now. Now that I'm reaching the end of this project, like with these guys, I actually have to start being careful, which is not my strong suit when it comes to painting. I'm very much like a hurrah with a paintbrush kind of guy. Because normally I have quite a bit of brush control. I take these nice big swipes with the paintbrush. But yeah. Let's see. Communist revolutionary who revolt against orcs on the same planet. That's so funny. I love it. He was from the Gorka Morka. Okay, that makes more sense. Gorka Morka. Yes. I know of the game. Love the idea of it. Totally missed it. Just in terms of like when I was in the hobby and that kind of stuff. I heard the rulebooks online if I wanted to ever go play it. My biggest thing is like there's so many. I don't know how people recruit for some of those older games. Like for example, like we'll pick one like Mordheim, right? I have played Mordheim. I had an absolute blast, but I don't know how you get people to play Mordheim now that GW's like barfing a new skirmish level game every week. Even though Mordheim's different, I still find it very, it just would seem like a difficult sell. Like, hey, instead of all these new things that they're dumping product into, come play this very old thing. Like, I don't know. Happy to get and have a wonderful night. Weren't you just doing this? Doing this in terms of painting this stuff? Yeah, man. Got to get it screen ready. Now we're doing the metallics, which is going very, very quick. Okay. Domestic, hey, yeah. Yep. It started because my buddy Jack had to work late. So like, oh yeah, I'll do a live stream and entertain you, and then his phone died. So now I'm just doing this for me at this point. It's like, well, you know what? I just want to get this terrain done. I need this done sometime this year. I still have my, I don't know where I put it. It's over on this other room. My big list where I just went through my closet and I just listed off every single model, every single project that I have. And I was like, I'm either going to keep it or I'm selling it. And there's nothing in between. So that is basically what I'm trying to work through right now. With all the stuff that I just need to get rid of. Either from my to-do list or from my collection altogether. Let's see, just picking on you. Oh, yeah. No, I take jokes well. You have to if you want to have a friend like Jack. Let's see. Yep, it was 2 hours of painting Dryad bark and then watching Dryad bark dry. And now it's the fun stuff. Now it's the painting the little odds and ends and the metallics and all the ropes. So if nothing else, hopefully at least a little more entertaining. And it has the added benefit of no landlords banging on the wall. So already this is a way stronger stream than it was earlier today. It sucks because like I always want to do one midday for me on Friday, because midday for me is like early evening or so for my viewers over in greater Europe area, and so it works out perfect. I get to catch people who I don't normally catch. But man, if there is something going on, like one day there was a car accident outside my apartment complex and the sirens were going insane, and I was just like, I can't do this. Random question. What's your favorite way to base models, like terrain type and technique? I am the worst human to ask about that. So basically, the way that I typically do my basing, and I'm going to tread carefully because I know Vince Ventrella is actually in the chat, is I glue them to the base, prime them, paint them, and then I go back over with texture paint, and I wash and I dry brush that. So I don't have an example in there of me doing. Of course, not all my models are packed away right now. But yeah, no, I just basically go through the. If you open up the Citadel Paint app, there's a section on basing. I just follow one of those things. What I should do, and what a smart Doug would do, is do the bases separately and then add the models on top of them. And I did do that for my Maggotkin, and I like it, but it is a lot of work, and it is daunting to me. I don't like it at all. So there's that. Let's see. Vincent Trout, listen to Smart Doug. He speaks truth. You know, my thing is simple. The big takeaway, actually, one thing that I did, so I had Vince on here talking about bases a while ago because he heard how much I hate doing bases. That I walked away with and I really have enjoyed was, hold on one second, my next pick here. Here we go. Was that if you put a tuft, like those little grass tufts things on there, to put a wash over it so that it kind of bleeds into the texture around it, and then you can actually paint those little tufts. And I was like, ever since I started doing that, everything looks much better. So I will tell you that that's a great tip. That was actually my favorite walk away from that night. So now we're going with the other metal just to get the nuts and bolts that keep the scaffolding together, and there's like some chains on the other thing that I thought would look better in more of an iron look than bronze. We got the dumb Doug. You did get the dumb Doug. Oh my god, there's a lot of nails on this thing. I did not realize that as I was dry brushing all the browns. But now that I dry brushed them, they're all highlighted. I can see them all. I'm like, oh dang. Yes, my favorite moment in that interview with Vince was when I said, so do you normally, like, you know, glue your models to the base before, or do you do your bases first and then glue them on? He just held up, I think it was a Keeper of Secrets or something huge, just like, do you see this thing glued down? I was like, oh yeah, oh, fair point. But I'm so impatient. I love seeing the model just fully assembled on its base. I don't know. I don't have what you might call the eye of the tiger, just to hold in there and hang in there and wait for it to be ready to be based. And we got this guy. Grant, so you decided to change up the chain paint scheme? Decided to change up the chain paint scheme. Grant, I don't think I understand. Elaborate a bit more. The chain. this is some hopping music. Let's see. Oh, I see why. I was like, this doesn't sound like my kind of music. It sounds more of a pulse than what I like. I do the calm stuff, but it switched playlists on me at some point. There we go. Oh, you changed paint schemes on chains from bronze to iron. No. So what I did for the bronze, what I was asking about, was this sucker. These big star things. The actual chains, I was always going to have be metal. Yeah, no, these are the things. So then I'm going to do some, like, I think it's patina, with the rust effects and that kind of stuff, the blue nihilic oxide, that kind of thing. So this is what I was asking about for asking about bronze or iron, but I think chains look good as iron. Vertigree, thank you. Words. That's why Kenzie's usually on the chat to correct me when I get something wrong. I don't know about y'all. I'm very bad at typing, so I make a lot of like errors on the Discord channel, and I think I give her pretty much a daily aneurysm. But that's all right. Then for one day I started trying to actively do it wrong. That was a fun day. Patina works too. Let's see. Am I missing anything? I think all I need to do at this point is next I'm going to be highlighting the skeletons. The skeletons. Let's do it. Sean Blake. Doug. Sean. Oh my gosh. Let's do it. Let's get some. Let's get some shabti bun. Let's see. Okay, so for my Warcry thing, my Warcry campaign, I'm planning on having the Corvus Cabal. I need to actually paint up. I have like all but one model left of a Corvus Cabal warband to actually paint. Because I used it for a conversion for something else. But I have a bunch of Corvus Cabal stuff to paint. And then I was going to have them do the actual campaign from the book, and I'm excited about that. Here's my question. What should the first opponent be? Right, I'm trying to craft a story with these games, and I thought it'd be really cool if they had like a main villain, right? Like some particular warband that they were constantly fighting, and then splash in the other ones here and there. Because that way I could develop like a villain. You know what I mean? Kind of have a main focus, and then everything else is an obstacle. So what do you guys think? Who would be a good villain of the Corvus Cabal? I'll give you guys a second to get your answers in. I know there's a delay between when I say something and when you hear it. Oh, look at that. These skulls are popping out. I love it. So those are done. Let's knock this guy out real quick. Perhaps orcs. Interesting. It's interesting because I wouldn't have gone with a existing AOS army. I would have picked a Warcry warband, like the actual like Chaos guys. So that's interesting. Night Hunt. My thing is, I need a villain. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you guys? What else we got? I'm surprised Osiric Barnabas didn't get a Warcry warband at launch. Oh, I'm not. No, I don't think they want to oversaturate with stuff. Spread it out in case there's a dry week later in the future. Nice. Man, I might actually have this stuff done tonight. That would be amazing. The Slaves to Darkness warband from the Mercs book could be badass. That'll definitely happen. Cause eventually it'll happen because I don't own Vanguard, but I know Jack does. So once his, or at least one of his, gets painted up, because he already has all the other Slaves to Darkness stuff that you would want. I'm so bummed that they didn't make those rules. If they made it very clear, like, these rules are supposed to only exist in narrative missions from this campaign book or whatever. Which is such a bummer, because there's no reason. Just make them just a hair more balanced and give us a reason to have my Slaves to Darkness. Especially now that we're getting new models for them. It's like, come on. What were you guys thinking? Let's see. What up, Pimp Queen Smogwai? Mogwai man, you're a Bone Splitters player. How are you finding War Clans? Specifically, the Bone Splitters section. Been wanting to ask you. Let's see, what stuff. Iron Golems seem like they would be a good contrast of playstyle. That's what I was leaning towards. Because they seem like they would be very much like what do you call it? Like opposed values, right? Not just play styles, but like they're just different kinds of chaos. Very much them or the Unmade or something like that, like with the self-harm warband where they rip their own faces off, where, you know, like all things are supposed to be an offering to the big devourer, according to the Corvus Cabal or whatever they call it. But if they take their own flesh, they're not offering it up. That might be a good like ideological difference as well. Let's see, Muggle Man, absolutely love it. Whooping ass with Rogue Idol. Yes, I have my Rogue Idol. I don't see a use for the Rogue Idol in Iron Jaws, like at all, because I would rather just take a Mega Boss on Maw Crusher if I want a big 400 point baddie. But in Bone Splitters, I've just been, every list I write has him in it because he just seems so cool. Do you ever do the double movement spell where it doubles his speed and he gets to like bolt forward like a maniac? I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. Let's see, after the skeletons are painted, it's just a matter of doing some final touches on the metals, washes and such. Yeah. Yeah, and I set up Gorkamorka's Warcry sometimes. Nice. I'm so excited. I have an event on the 16th. I won't have my bone splitters ready by then, but there is a December event. Maybe? You know, I would have to basically kind of what I did with the Stormcast, where I stopped all content for a little bit, and I was like, guys, I need to crank out this army, and so I just took a week and did a live stream just about every single night and just painted an entire Stormcast army almost in a week. That might need to happen. If you want to go silly, you can have some gobos that are so hopped up they think they are a Death Clan as a reoccurring villain. That'd be funny. I thought you were going to say have the goblins in my bone splitters, which I've definitely considered doing a full Squigs and Pigs list, but that's funny about the goblins in Warcry. Let's see, sell some. Sell some? Oh, probably sell some. Yeah, sell and buy an Iron Jaws. Yep. How many points of bone splitters do you have that you'd be selling some? Let's see. Roughly 4K of, oh god, of bone splitters. That's funny. Well, if you're interested, you can reach out to me via email, Facebook, or Discord. I got some Iron Jaws sitting here that I have no intention of working with. I could always use some more bone splitters. Okay. Oh god, we're so close. I hate painting bone. Specifically because I find that the paints dry up very, very quickly. That's probably just me going crazy, but that's alright. Dropping Iron Jaws? No. I just have some extras. No, I want to have a full list for Iron Jaw. Like, I have way too many Ard Boys. I have way too many War Chantas because I kept inheriting lots that other people already had. Well, of course, everyone starts with the Start Collecting box, so all of a sudden, you know, everyone's got oodles and oodles of the same thing. No, I'm having so much stinking fun with that book. I can't put it down, honestly. Chaos Spawn, you were playing, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, you were playing Iron Jaws at Nova, right? How are you liking the book? I do like how on that release there was no drama with things being broken or amazing. It was just, this book is fun. Fun AF. Have you tried using a wet palette? Nope. Well, that's not true. I did try it. I didn't like it. Yeah. I'm going to start a donation jar every time somebody asks. I'm going to put a quarter in or something like that. Nice. Okay. Skulls is done. I love the Bone Splitters more than Iron Jaws has options. Yeah. Caught up on my backlog. That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think the Bones... So when I first got the War Clans book, I was like super... Not frustrated. That's not the right word. But I was very much convinced that the real winners were Iron Jaws, and I felt like they got all the love. And the more I was reading, I was like, I don't think that that's true. Like, I think the Bone Splitters walked away much better off. Joseph, wish I could have bought your Ossiarchs. Yeah, they were a deal amongst friends, and they're going to use it for their channel with the over on Rerolling Ones. They always get first dibs. Always how it goes with friends. Because eventually they're going to pass me up in terms of subs, and I'll need to ride their coattails instead of them riding mine, as they put it. Peace out, peoples. Have a good night, you. So one of the things that I saw on, I talk about this all the time because I never know if the same people are watching, but using the Gilliman Flesh contrast paint over Balthazar Gold, I love it. It makes this such a rich, warm color. Boom. Trackfoot has a place for you, Doug. Yep, actually mine, well, so I started painting so I had some Bone Splitters before War Clans dropped. And they were sitting on a shelf, and I had started painting them as Drackfoot because I liked the lore of them in the old Battle Tome. I mean, it's the same lore, nothing's changed, but like lore-wise. But I wanted to build them because their big mega battalion was awesome back then. Where I don't know, it just made the war docs like incredible, which they still are, but it's a little bit different now. It's funny. So I'll bring him to an event at some point. I'll paint it up as Drackfoot and scare people. We do have a very I don't know what's the right word. He's very good at playing Night Haunt. He's ranked in the ITC somewhere. Joseph Gonzalez with his Night Haunt, and that's going to make him squirm. But here's the thing: is like anyone who, because I played Bone Splitters many moons ago, anyone who actually played Bone Splitters when they saw that rule spoiled just kind of went, oh, okay, and didn't think much of it, and everyone else had a freak out. And the reason is, if you don't know, Bone Splitters don't have a whole lot of Rens, so ignoring Ethereal is like, okay. The bigger thing is not being able to take a save after the save for their wounds that they deliver, so you can't get deathless minions or disgustingly resilient. Like, that's the moneymaker. I just thought it was interesting. So why is the stream just for Jack? It was just for Jack because we were going to have a game tonight, me and him, and then he ended up having to work late. And so I started a stream to entertain him while he was working, because he does driving, deliveries and that kind of stuff, and so for UPS. And so The idea was just to give him something entertaining to listen to while he was driving around. That's all. It was just for Jack to keep my buddy entertained at work. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, because it takes a while for me to try new things. Null oil gloss. Love this stuff for metals. Looks so cool. Just bought it 2 days ago. It's been out for like a year or something like that, right? Not for every metal, but it does help it kind of pop off of the dull looking brown that I painted here a little bit. That's kind of nice. Let's see. Jack's off work. Nice. All friends. That means I might be hanging up here pretty soon to go play some video games with my buddy online. Play some Total War. Or something. I'm so close to having this done. Okay. Alright, so let's take inventory here. What's left? I have to wait for the washes to dry on all the metals. And I'm going to do some more dry brushing on the very, very tips of these things, just to make the ends of the sticks look a little bit brighter, I think. Like a lighter wood, like you would if you had cut into a piece of wood. Yeah. Sticks differently than the standard kind. No, the gloss gives just kind of a shiny finish, which is just nice. But it keeps the metals from dulling. It doesn't make them like super, super glossy, I don't think, but yeah. So yeah, then I just have to add some, what do we say, verdigris is the word for it, to the golds here, the bronzes, and just do a quick null oil over the various wrappings and straps just to get it all done. So anyway, I know you don't usually do separate basing for models, but do you ever thought about doing that for terrain? Most terrain doesn't have a base? I'm not sure I understand. Okay, go ahead and re-ask that question, Grant. I'm trying to think about that. To my knowledge, not a lot of the terrain has basing. We'll keep this here because I'm going to do that same patina and that kind of stuff on this guy. And we will be all set. Oh, duh. I totally forgot that I actually have skeletons on this thing, too. Okay. I have no idea. I forgot about that. I'm just waiting for Grant to ask his question, or rephrase it so I can answer it, and then I'll probably hop off for the night. There are some terms that have specific footprints. No, I mean, I don't use them if there are. How about that? I would if I had a specific paint scheme, but like War Clans, they don't have a piece of terrain, that kind of thing. These I probably won't. Well, because the buildings don't have any like trim that like kind of goes along the side there. So yeah, it just hasn't come up for me. So I guess no to answer your question, but not for a lack of trying. But I see what you mean now. Like there's a base part to the terrain piece that brings it down to the gaming mat or table, whatever. Here's what I want to know when it comes to this watchtower. Were the guys dead when they put him in there? Like these little skeletons just jammed him in there? Or were they alive and screaming? Can't tell. Thank you all so much for the kind words and reminders to like the video. I'm going to go ahead and hop off and hang out with my buddy Jack now that he's at home. Again, this is all for him. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you all later in the week.